Hi everyone, welcome to NMHS's first town hall event. We appreciate you taking the time to join us. I'm Kayla and I'll be helping facilitate today's event.
I'm Jessica and I'll also be helping facilitate today's town hall. We'll begin by quickly outlining our goals and the reason we're having this event, and then move on to our discussion questions.
Hi, my name is Jasmine. First, we need to identify the problem. The mental health of students has been declining since the start of online learning. Our solution is to provide resources that will help students regain a sense of comfort and acceptance in the current environment.
So what exactly are we doing? We're making efforts towards normalizing conversations about mental health between students and their teachers. We understand that students are not the only ones affected, but that staff members are struggling as well.
So why are we doing this? Because everyone deserves access to the support that they need, and they shouldn't feel that mental health is a taboo topic. Empowering others to invest in themselves is incredibly important.
Our goal is simple. We want to spread awareness of the resources that the school has made available. We recently sent out a Google form to students to gauge the impact the pandemic has had on students' mental health, and as you can see, about half of all students reported that their mental health had declined.
Here are a few direct quotes from the students that summarize how a lot of us are feeling. One student says, "It has been harder staying positive in general, and it's getting to the point where it feels like we are getting everything taken away from us. Everything is just being pushed back, and at some point these events are going to get canceled, and I feel like nobody cares." Another student has a completely different reaction and says, "I'm not the best around other people, so being a help helps alleviate stress and keep my mind on school rather than other things." While the previous question was very general, this question has more narrow scope. As you all know, our Mondays aren't meant to be dedicated towards schoolwork, but instead towards checking in on students. Most students agree that mental health Mondays have been beneficial. When we asked the students who voted no why they disagreed, they told us many of their teachers treat Monday like a normal school day, thereby increasing their stress.
Here are a few direct quotes from students that provide more insight. So I'll just read one or two of them out loud so that you can all get the idea. One student says, it allowed at least a day to prepare for the week ahead while not being overwhelmed with work? And another student says, it does help because some classes tell us what the whole week is going to contain, so it's much easier not to be as stressed, but I wish we didn't have so much homework. Going back to one of the goals of this town hall, we would like to provide everyone with some resources. Ms. Shea and Mr. Bishop will now give a presentation about their roles and the support that they provide.
Thank you. Good afternoon, everyone. I am in awe of the student leaders who have organized and executed this event. I'm very happy to be here. Certainly talking about mental health is near and dear to my heart. I really believe in the power of relationships, social emotional learning, and mental health, and racial equity to support the whole student and not just their academic success. So I have the honor of being on a team of what is called COST providers. So COST stands for Coordination of Support Team. And essentially, I'm on a team with other amazing people who are clinicians, counselors, such as Mr. Bishop, who is our mental health counselor. We partner with organizations in our community, and we provide supports that are very much needed to students. So we meet once a week, and some providers, on the team include parent partners. We have an East Bay Agency for Children clinician. La Familia provides case management and counseling supports to students. And we're actually working on increasing some partnerships. So we may have, or actually we will have a partnership with SAVE, which is an organization called Safe Alternatives to Violent Environments. So just to give you all a little snapshot into the students that we supported this year, we've had 203 referrals already. It's been a really, really hard year, and we continuously work to link students with supports. So myself, I provide individual and group support, and other people on the team may, depending on their scope of practice, will also provide supports to students. just to give you all a heads up, it's really easy to, refer yourself to receive supports. During when we're actually at school, we have a form called a cost form. Those are located in the main office. So teachers and students can make referrals for, to get mental health support, academic support. It could be a range of things. So I don't have an ability to show you that form right now, but during distance learning, students and staff can call Vicky Garcia, who is an incredible support person to our school. She's a health and wellness consultant with Alameda County and helps to support our cost team. So just wanted to make sure I addressed that for people wondering how to get support. Now, I'll briefly tell you about a little bit what I do to support mental health and wellness of students and definitely policies in our district. I'm the PBIS team lead. PBIS essentially is a collaboration between our district and school staff and sustaining support systems across the entire school. So cost is included in that. But our focus has really been to support the wellness of students and staff this year. We've done acknowledgement, student of the month, staff self-care, paint nights, and we definitely want to continue that. So, with that being said, we've partnered with the Mind Wellness Club in facilitating those events. It's really important that we empower you all to be involved in these efforts as well. Additionally, I'm on a district wellness committee that is definitely working hard to support the implementation of SEL curriculum or social emotional learning curriculum in our classrooms. We know that emotional intelligence in students results in higher grades, regardless of age, intelligence, and personality factors. But SEL is really important for the wellness of the whole student, not just your academic wellness or success. My role is to support alternatives to suspension. So we're working on supporting programs and the wellness of students who may have been caught, using substances, who just may need that mental health support. So rather than getting suspended, they may get referred to me. Lastly, I have a wellness account on Instagram, NMHS Wellness, where you can follow for updates and, mental health awareness posts. Please follow at NMHS Wellness. And I'm going to pass it along to Mr. Bishop, who is a dear colleague of mine. Thank you.
So just a little bit about who I am and what I do. So I am the mental health clinician at...
Mr. Bishop, sorry to interrupt you. I can't hear what you're saying.
Is that better? So I am the mental health clinician for Newark Memorial High School. And so what I am, I'm employed by the high school. And so that gives me the unique opportunity to be at the high school every single day of the week that the students are actually on campus. And so that's absolutely amazing that the high school would actually provide that service to you students. And so just a little bit about what I do. So I'm actually a therapist. And so I actually do individual and group therapy with my students. I'm actually on the cost team as well, as Ms. Shea discussed. And so being on the cost team, I will actually get referrals with specific needs of individuals and families. And then those individuals and families are then kind of filtered to me so I can work with them. Some of the work that I do with students can be very short-term therapy or just social and emotional check-ins, or I can actually do some heavy and deeper therapy depending on the issues. I do risk assessments at the high school. So when we have worries or danger, or actually if we have a sense that a student there's a kind of a threat to themselves or a threat to others, that's where I kind of come in, and I actually support in that. And then I help develop safety plans with students and staff and families just around safety concerns that we might have. And then also too, within my office, the work that I do, we're working on all kinds of clinical diagnosis. It can range from anxiety, we can go into depression, we can just go into basic social and emotional regulation. We're working on healthy relationships and healthy communication. And so we work in my office in a very broad way on a lot of different issues. And then the other one is when I'm working with my students, for my students that are out there, if you're looking to connect with me, you can connect with me through your student email, and you can just type up my last name and my name will come up. And you can shoot me an email and just let me know, hey, you know what, I'm going through this or that. Is there a way we can check in? And then we can do the cost check-in secondary. And I can connect with you directly. I work really close with my counselors and my administrative staff and my teachers to get a good sense of what students are out there that can actually need my help or use my services. And so other than that, that's pretty much what I wanted to kind of put out there as far as what I do and who I am at the high school. Many students don't know who I am. This might be the first time you have heard my name or even seen my face, just because there's a realm of confidentiality when I'm working with my students. And so oftentimes a student will work with me, but other students don't know that they work with me. And other students are completely comfortable as far as, hey, I know Mr. Bishop, and this is what I do with him. But there's a sense of confidentiality that I hold with all of my students. And so that's why many students may, for the first time, either hear my name or see me for the first time. And that's kind of part of it. And then the second part is I've been with the school for 6 years. This is my 6th year. And I am so grateful to Newark Memorial High School for having me on staff. And so yeah, I'll just wrap it up there. I know there's some time constraints with this presentation. So I'll be here throughout the duration of this presentation if anyone has any questions for me later in the presentation.
Thank you, Ms. Shea, and thank you, Mr. Bishop, for that excellent presentation. Now we will watch a short video from the Mind Wellness Club.
Hello, everyone. This is our Mind Wellness Support and Resources presentation. I am Asina, the president of the Mind Wellness Club.
Hi, I'm Sam. I'm VP of the Mind Wellness Club.
Hello, I'm Rico. I'm the secretary of the Mind Wellness Club.
Hello, I'm Amber, the treasurer of the Mind Wellness Club.
Hello, I'm Anushka. I'm the communications chair of the Mind Wellness Club.
Hi, I'm Cami and I'm one of the connective leaders.
Hi, my name is Gigi and I'm the second connective leader that we have in the club.
We'll be starting everything off with a quote. Give yourself permission to unplug and regroup without feeling guilty. You can't be there for others if you don't take care of yourself first. Make sure to take care of yourself and take a break. Prioritizing yourself will make sure that you can live your life putting your best foot forward.
And without further ado, we'll continue on to the next one. So why is mental health so important? Many of us have often heard to prioritize our mental health, but we're never really unsure what this means. So mental health essentially is about our well-being. It affects us both physically and mentally. And it affects us on how we perform in school and how we sleep and how we interact with others. Therefore, when we don't prioritize our mental health, we can neither concentrate nor dedicate ourselves to the work of school.
Here's some statistics that we found to be important. But one I'd like to highlight is that suicide is the third leading cause of death in 15 to 19-year-olds. In our age group, there's many struggles with mental health, and it's important that we begin to prioritize mental health and mind wellness and learn healthy ways to cope. We've listed some activities that we found to be helpful in the next slide.
A few examples of activities are writing, listening to music, and other small physical activities. Free writing can help relieve any overwhelming or trapped emotions, or listening to music that you associate your experiences with can make you feel less alone, or creating playlists that have songs that resonate. Happiness or tranquility can help influence your mood for the better. Other physical activities like painting, art, crafts, baking, exercising can help you dedicate your energy towards something more enjoyable and keeping your mind busy.
Here are some helpful reminders that we found to be important. Check in with loved ones, drink water, and know that it's okay to take breaks and time for yourself. Keep in mind that you're not alone. Eat something throughout the day, even if it's small, just make sure to eat something. Breathe and try to relax. You're enough and everything will be okay.
These are some apps that can help students improve their mental health. Meditation apps and podcasts. Atlas has daily podcasts about how to cope with challenges, emotions, and self-love, and also some for studying and sleeping and so much more. You can even connect with your friends and create new friends and post in the app, just like Instagram. Calm is an app that has guided mindful meditations, relaxing music, and sleep stories.
There are also positive mindset and mood tracking apps. MindShift uses scientifically proven strategies based on cognitive behavioral therapy to help you learn using interactive cognitive-based tools to help you reorient your thinking. Wow, big psychology words. Pacifica helps break a cycle of ongoing negative thoughts by using tools that target stress, anxiety, and depression. The app consists of psychology design tools based on cognitive behavioral therapy, mindfulness, meditation, relaxation, and mood and health tracking.
Organization apps and scheduling. Flora is a free productivity app that helps people stay off their phone, clear to-do lists, and build positive, life-changing habits. Evernote allows you to sync personal checklists and notes across devices, take notes in a variety of formats, let you work collaboratively with others and share ideas, as well as plan events and set reminders. These are some text and talk hotlines for the LGBTQ+ community. Some include the GLBT National Youth Talking, the Lounge by Gender Spectrum, the Trevor Project, and Trans Lifeline.
There's also various amount of resources available for people struggling with substance abuse and vaping issues. We have the SAMHSA's National Helpline along with the California Smokers Helpline. They're both helplines that are completely free to call along with text if texting is more of an efficient option for you. And they will be sure to offer encouragement, advice, and tips for becoming smoke-free and being healthier. And yeah.
Furthermore, we also have these other hotlines that you can call anytime, free and private as well.
And last but not least, there are a bunch of Instagram accounts that you can follow for mental health awareness and inspiration. A few of them include Happify, Risk Happy, Trauma & Co., Daily Calm, even our own Instagram, Panelists NMHS. These accounts, their purpose is to help spread mental health awareness as well as provide a safe space for anyone who is struggling. These accounts can also provide a safe space for private messages if you ever need someone to contact if you need any help. And that will be all for this presentation. Thank you so much for watching. If you have any questions, we can be contacted through Instagram, Remind, and Discord. Our Instagram, again, is @MindWellnessNMHS. Our Remind is @MindWE. And we also have a Discord. The link is in the slides here. And yeah, thank you for watching.
Hello everyone, this is our Mind Wellness Support.
Okay, I hope you all found that information helpful. So before we move on to the discussion portion, I just wanted to plug a few of our Instagram accounts as well. So we have the NMHS Activities account, which is run by ASB and will keep you updated on events and opportunities. We have the NMHS Athletics account, which posts about scholarships and sports updates. And lastly, the NMHS Wellness account, which you already know is run by Ms. Shea. And it'll post about restorative practices and mental health awareness.
Now we will begin.
Oh, sorry, Jasmine, I didn't mean to cut you off. You guys, I was unable to get the chat working, but I do want to make sure that you guys understand that you can leave your comments to the questions that we're discussing in the Q&A, and we will make sure that we document all of these so that we have them for future use. And then at the end, there will be more portion for Q&A and responses to these questions for the students that are in the audience. So sorry to interrupt you, Jasmine. Back to you.
It's okay. Now we will begin the conversation. Let's start by introducing our student panelists, ASB President Ethan Inocencio, ASB Vice President Dana Prudente, Student Board Rep Wahab Salimi, Mind Wellness Club President Estina Ortiz Resendiz, and Positive Outlook Committee Head Nathalia Johnson Martinez. We strongly encourage students to participate by responding to the questions being asked of the panelists in the chat. If you'd like to respond anonymously, then you can use the Q&A. This is a chance for your voices to be heard. We encourage everyone to speak up. We'll start off with a clarifying question. How has your mental health improved or declined since the returning of this school year?
Hi everyone, my name is Ethan, and like Jessica and other people said, I'm the ASB president. And the way I would answer this question, I would say that my mental health has improved. One way would be because the teachers are tending to be more lenient with their workload, and they're also quite more understanding of like the situations we're in and how it can affect us with getting our work done. So I am appreciative of that. And then one way that it's declining, I would say, would probably be because the whole kind of social aspect of being at school had now been taken away, unfortunately. And I can't physically see anyone, and it's harder to talk to people in person, obviously. And then kind of like through our Zoom calls, it's more difficult. So I think there's not much we can do about it, but that is probably the biggest reason why my mental health has declined.
Hi everyone, my name is Wahab. I think being at home has eliminated some stress for me personally. I think I was on a rigorous schedule where I was never able to set aside time for myself. However, I think honestly, it has declined in a lot of other areas, even though all my friends are and family and teachers are there. But because we're all virtual, there's sometimes this feeling of loneliness, and you begin to see how important it was just to go to school and talk to friends. I never feel like I'm truly not working anymore. There isn't really the solid structure. And I think being able to go and do things normally at school or in general outside my home helped relieve a lot of my anxiety. But all these new challenges with online school and us students' lives getting flipped upside down, there's always this stressing anxiety. We get really tired. We see our teachers a few hours a week, and sometimes because it's virtual, we don't fully grasp what's being taught, or not being able to participate in events, school sports. So I think it's many things that have led to this decline.
Hi, I'm Nathalia, and I'm the committee head for Positive Outlook, the ASB committee. And one way I think that my mental health has improved is like small breaks throughout the day, and before classes start. I find myself like having time for myself, where normally if I was in person, I would probably just continue working or having something else to do. But it's declined because there's just not really a lot of structure with not knowing how to stop working, as Wahab said. And also, it's harder to ask questions in class to your teachers because a lot of the time it's a black screen and it's really quiet and it just feels like it's just you or it's just the teacher. So I'd say that's had a really bad decline on my mental health.
Okay, I think it's time to move on to the next question. Thank you all for your responses. So the next question, what are some things that have been giving you a hard time in coping with distance learning?
I can start off. Hi, I'm Steina, as y'all have heard. Something that's been giving me a really hard time in coping with distance learning has been my sleep schedule, to be honest. With so many assignments on a daily basis and not including such things as like clubs, activities, sports, family events, it gets pretty hard coping with everything and like making a schedule sometimes. So I feel like in order to complete everything, I sometimes lose sleep to this, and it's really been affecting me.
I think there are definitely multiple things that have been giving me a hard time coping. Firstly, I think because everything is online and you're just sitting in one spot all day, you don't know when to stop working, ultimately ending up in us being more tired at the end of the day. I think the fact that I lose the social aspect of being at school in person has been very difficult on me emotionally as well. In general, just not being able to have that same access to resources has really been difficult because um, the workload is still there. So even if the resources aren't there, that impact on your grade is still there.
I personally find what's hard with coping with distance learning is not being able to really connect with my teachers like one-on-one as I would be able to in person, because it's kind of just you go to class, you go to after hours, but there's no real connection and time to build a connection between you two, so you guys have a clear understanding of why you might turn work in late or why things might happen the way it does. So that's hard for me to cope with since distance learning started.
Okay, we're moving on to the next question. So what are some things the school is doing that is helping students with their social emotional well-being, and how can it be improved?
I can begin with this one. I think the fact that we blocked out Mondays as Mental Health Mondays was a step in the right direction. But in terms of how it can be improved, um, this day really has the potential to help people. And when I talk to some of my friends, and I feel the same way, we all share the sentiment that there are so many teachers who actually teach and assign work on Monday. And I think it defeats the whole purpose when we can really be using this time to check in, do meditation, have class conversations, or hopefully soon be able to teach SEL curriculum in the future. The other things is there are many teachers who honestly, they're not sure what to be doing during these times, which is why the curriculum is so important. And I think that we need that right away. I think we just need to start creating a culture within staff, but also students that attach a sense of urgency and gravity to that mental health deserves. We really need to start taking into consideration and stop pushing it to the side. On top of that, really reviewing some of the things that are going on right now in our school and looking at how it can be improved.
I think something our school is doing really well that's helping students is the Wellness Wednesdays that Positive Outlook puts on as the ASB committee. And I think it does truly reach out to a lot of people, and it takes everyone a minute to like think about themselves and put themselves first after doing all their schoolwork. It gives them a time for them. But I think it could be improved by just advertising it more on social media and the announcements, just so there's a wider audience than there is that we're seeing.
I agree with both of you, Nathalie and Wahab. And just adding on, I feel like this school does offer a lot of resources. However, I do also believe that not a lot of students know about them and know where to go. Because even if I have heard like, oh, there's this and there's this outlet, I feel like since we are online, it's a lot harder for people to actually find out how to use them correctly. So I do believe we have a lot of resources that we are offering, but it can be improved by just teaching us how we can use it to our best ability.
Jasmine, keep playing.
Okay, I think we're ready to move on. So I think this is the final question for students. Oh wait, second to last question for students. How is being able to request help from staff changed in our virtual environment?
One way that I think it has changed personally is I feel like it's a lot easier, kind of like what Nathalia said earlier, to like reach out to your teachers and get help, because when you're in person, you're physically there and you can see them. And there's a lot of ways it can be one-on-one. Like, for example, like teachers would be like, oh, you can come in during my brunch, lunch, or after school. Like, you just walk into my room, and as long as you're like not a huge group of people, like I can work with you one-on-one. but I feel like now it's like gotten a lot more strict, I would say, and teachers are, I feel like they're only saying like, you can see me between this hour and this hour, like 2 to 3 after school, and those are my office hours, and like anytime else, like then you're gonna have to contact me and figure out a different way. So I feel like before, when we were in person, everything was a lot more accessible, and you could go in when it like benefited you most and like fit with your schedule rather than fitting theirs. I mean, yeah.
I definitely agree. I mean, asking help from teachers has been hard anywhere when it was in person and in the pandemic. But now that we're online and after 3 classes of an hour and 15 minutes, at least personally, I get tired. I would love to stay and talk with my teacher sometimes, but I just can't keep on staring at a screen or sitting in my desk for another hour or so. So it's sometimes difficult to really ask for help when you're really tired.
Yeah, I agree with what both of you guys just said. I think it's changed significantly. I was the kind of student that anytime I needed something from a teacher or staff member, I would show up at lunch or after school. Whether I needed to see a counselor or a teacher, it didn't matter. I felt comfortable enough doing that. And in terms of one-on-one help in certain subjects, for over a year now, we have lost that luxury of pause and being able to get that support. So in these times, you need to get the person's email and coordinate a time with them, and then make sure that you have that internet connection to be able to speak to the teacher. And honestly, teachers have a lot on their plates too right now, so you can get that immediate access and help that a student needs during distance learning.
Okay, it looks like we're ready to move on to the next question. So what factors in your virtual environment contribute to your stress?
Okay, I think I'm gonna start this one off. So me personally, in my environment, my mom, she's working from home. My sister and my cousin, they all live with me, and they're all doing online school as well. And I also have a dog who's very needy. So there's always like 4 calls going on at once. There's a lot of talking, screaming, just back and forth. And then when they're not talking, we're on lunches at different times, different moments. So all of our schedules are kind of messed up. So sometimes the teacher will ask me a question and I want to answer it, but I can't because if I do, there's just a lot of noise in the background or my internet connection isn't that stable to answer. So I think there's just a lot that happens in my environment at once that makes it hard for me to be able to give my teachers all that they want.
Um, in my virtual environment, I think having to sit in one room for numerous hours a day is really hard on me. Um, it feels like I'm always behind a screen and don't even see outside anymore. Even talking to some people, if it's friends or teachers, it's all behind that screen. And again, I'm someone that likes that social aspect. Sometimes I have really bad connection, and when that happens and I can't even understand the teacher because I keep going in and out of the call, it's honestly super stressful. And of course, nowadays everyone is home, so you can't necessarily get that space that's quiet in order to be in class and have a conversation with your teacher.
I definitely agree with what y'all just said. I personally take care of my brother on a daily basis. He's a first grader. So it sometimes gets difficult taking care of both of our schedules and adding along to lunch and breaks and classes and homework. It gets hectic, and low internet bandwidth also just adds on to the pile. And sometimes like I can't handle it. And if teachers ask me to volunteer or help, I would love to, but if I'm busy somewhere else, it's hard for me to manage both things at once.
Okay, so that was all for the student questions. We're now going to invite our adult panelists to address a couple more questions. So let's welcome our Superintendent Dr. Triplett, Board Member Martinez, our Principal Ms. Rangel, and our Director of Teaching and Learning, Mr. Dolowich. So thank you for putting students first and being willing to participate in our first town hall event. Your question, you can read it right now. What plans do the district and school have to address student mental health? Does this plan need to be changed after hearing today's student feedback?
Thank you so much for inviting us here today and for bringing forth the student voice. You know, right now we're reinventing what education looks like. And, you know, along the way, we're going to have ups and downs. And so a priority always at Newark Memorial is mental health. As Mark Bishop and Vanessa Shea stated, you know, those two positions are funded by the school site because we know it is vital, specifically in high school, to have access to mental health for our students. When we first started, you know, we wanted the Mondays to really help in addressing student mental health. And those Mondays are reserved for that. We can definitely do better. And I hear that today. And so I want you to know that I'll be doing more drop-ins into Mondays for teachers. But our intention initially was that Ms. Shea would provide some of that SEL curriculum since she is the expert in that area. So she was providing curriculum for potentially teachers to use to address student needs. I do hear that that might not be happening. I know Wahab addressed a potential curriculum and an online curriculum that we're hoping to have approved. And we want to make sure that, you know, if it is a curriculum that is worth bringing on, it will be continued into next year, because I know that this doesn't just stop now, right? We're going to be dealing with some trauma that has happened due to the pandemic. And so that's kind of my perspective from the school site. So I'll be sure to have my face seen a little bit more in those Mondays to see what's going on. So I appreciate and hearing everyone's perspective.
Thanks, Ms. Rangel. Students, is there a particular order you'd like us to speak, or should I go ahead? All right, I'm getting the thumbs up from Jessica. Thanks, Jessica. So, hey, everybody, I'm Superintendent Triplett. Again, thank you so much for inviting us to engage with you and to listen, because your voices are so important as we think about how we continue to try to get better, and particularly how to address student mental health and staff mental health as well, because that's also something that is really challenging everybody. I will say, in terms of plans, some of the things that we've tried to think about and are trying to address, starting with some of like the most fundamental needs, is lack of food and lack of resources. Obviously really has a terrible impact on mental health. So being able to provide lunches to everybody every day at all our schools was a real big priority first off. And then second is I know that in the spring, the difficulty in having access to the online learning was something that creates an immense amount of stress and anxiety for students and families. And so we tried really hard to get enough Chromebooks for everybody, and then also to get hotspots so that if anybody did not have Wi-Fi access, then they have it. Of course, now that we've been online for so long, it's a whole nother stress, right? Which is like, oh my God, why do we have to be online so much? And I heard that from all of you, and I share that too. It's just all day, every day on the computer is really, it doesn't feel healthy. And so I appreciated what some of you all were saying about the importance, and that wellness group was saying about the importance of unplugging, the importance of getting outside as much as you can, physical activity. And those are things that I'm trying to do for myself too, but I really want to encourage everybody to do. And along the lines of physical activity, one of the things that we've tried to do is open up athletics to safe outdoor workouts. And so it's something I'm really excited that we've been able to provide since early fall, really, is that we have about 230 students a day, or actually I guess a week, that are able to get on the field and in a safe way are able to be engaging in physical activity, because we know that that helps people's mental health. And then we have been, and Mr. Dolowich can talk more about this, but we've been working really hard to purchase and get approval for a social-emotional learning curriculum that we can support both in the secondary schools, junior high and high school, and then also in the elementary. And we're really excited through the work of the wellness committee that Ms. Shea was talking about, the district wellness committee, that they have gone through a lot of different curriculums to try to pick the very best one, and then have engaged with teachers around what has been, what they feel like is the best one. And we're very close to rolling out something called Character Strong, which I think everybody's really excited about. We do want to take it to the school board on the 18th to get it approved. But after that, we hope that that's something that could roll out and could be a part of Wellness Mondays. And what I was hearing today is we do need to make sure that it doesn't mean more work for you all, but rather it's actually something that creates space for you all to be addressing issues around mental health. So those are some of the things that that we've been working on, and I'm sure the other adults can chime in. But I did want to pose one other thing, and it's maybe a bit of a question. Something that we haven't done district-wide is that I'm interested in thinking about is dynamic mindfulness and meditation, and offering that not just for students, but also for staff, because I know it was mentioned here a little bit, but it can be a really powerful way of addressing mental health and stress. And so I'd love to hear from you all if that's something that you feel like would be helpful. I'm wondering if we create some times during the day where students and staff could log on to a place where they could do meditation. And dynamic mindfulness is basically meditation through movement, which we know is also really important when we're sitting in front of a screen all day. So anyway, I'll stop there, but I'd love to hear from you all if that's something that you feel like would be beneficial.
Yeah, I definitely think so.
That's great. Should I go next? Thank you, Dr. Triplett. So my name is Mr. Dolowich. I'm the Director of Teaching and Learning at the district office. And I think the first thing I just want to say, and I appreciated so much from the start of this presentation, was that talking about mental health is not taboo. The fact that we're in a pandemic since March of 2020 is unusual in of itself, and we're all at different places in our lives. So to have to go through this, hopefully the only time in our lifetime, people experience mental health crisis before the pandemic. It's totally normal to have these thoughts and to have them exacerbated by distance learning. When Wahab talked about how important socialization is at school, that is so spot on. It's so true. And so I think it's okay. The resources, Mr. Bishop, Miss Garcia, Miss Shea, Miss Rangel, Miss Canales, and others, and there's a wealth of resources. I think one thing I learned from this is we can do a better job probably communicating those resources and repeatedly communicating those resources for our community. But it's not taboo to be experiencing these thoughts during a pandemic. And so I think that's the first thing that I wanted to mention. The second thing, and Dr. Triplett mentioned it, the curriculum, and we want to bring it to the board for a presentation for all of our secondary schools, is Character Strong. And I would throw it in the chat. It's characterstrong.com. I have the high school link, but I don't see a chat in front of me. That's number one. We're taking a differentiated approach with adopting a more developmentally appropriate social emotional curriculum at the elementary level. So in other words, one thing we're doing from a district standpoint is being very conscientious of implementing K through 12, but 2 different curriculums. So that would be one response to that. And then the other thing is, and some districts have not done this, is prioritizing Monday. Absolutely, we understand that teachers need additional support with creating that space meaningful and relevant for students with where they are mentally and physically. And so Character Strong aims to do that at the secondary level. And so I think that's another takeaway is how do we prioritize professional development from a district standpoint for our teachers so that that time isn't wasted time for students. I do not believe it should be academic content that you're covering Tuesday through Friday. That's really a space on Mondays as we move forward with Character Strong for the students to be able to prioritize this space. And then there's been a lot of talk around dynamic mindfulness as well as physical activity. And in my mind, those two go hand in hand. So, you know, one way to get out of that mental space, especially if you're in a dark mental space, is to combine physical activity, whether that's, you know, power walking, yoga, getting outside and feeling the fresh air, along with meditation. And so since we're talking about dynamic mindfulness, I would throw out the app Headspace as a one example that perhaps ASB and other students can pilot and see if that may be an app that would be interesting for secondary students. I think it's more appropriate at the high school level than, say, elementary. So really, though, I think the most important thing we can do is be with you and listen to this so that we can reflect and put into practice some next steps. We know how challenging it is out there. And so, you know, we want to do everything in our power to support mental health and create sacred spaces. And so this is an important first step, but I hope that we continue to do this and connect and offer these forums so that we can put some of these theories into practice. Thank you.
If it's okay, I'll jump in really fast. I'm in awe of everyone, all the youth leaders today, but I definitely want to continue holding space for students. You know, I do individual and group support, but part of what I'd like to continue doing or expand is to hold more open forum circles or spaces for students that they can jump on, you know, maybe this week or next week, but you don't have to be committed every week. So I'll start advertising that on my NMHS wellness account. And essentially it'll just be a restorative space or circle space, I mean virtually, but where students can discuss mental health, what's on their mind, issues important to them in the world, in the school, in the community. And I'm a support person there to, you know, either link you with resources, you know, maybe to follow up with you one-on-one, but also more importantly, to be around peers who may be experiencing and feeling the same things as you. So that is one thing that I would like to expand and make that more available to more students at our school site. So keep a lookout for that. And I'm definitely open to more feedback or things that I can do.
I'll try to be brief. I know we're running out of time. My name is Elisa Martinez. I'm on the school board. And first and foremost, once again, thank you so much for giving me the opportunity to hear directly from you. You know, I can't speak directly to what's happening. I would be, you know, overstepping. That's Superintendent Triplett's role and his team. What I can do is make sure that the rest of the board really hears, you know, this information that I'm getting firsthand. Something that I can do, as I was thinking about, what are the things I can do to make sure that I'm amplifying your voice, right? Because at the end of the day, I want to make sure we're representing you. And things like, you know, when we approve a plan, which is our role, when district or leadership brings, here's the plan, here's what Mondays are going to be used for. So if we're hearing that that's not what's happening, those are just reminders for us that we should be following up. on the plans that we've approved. We should be asking, hey, how's it going? How do we know it's working the way it's been intended to work? So thank you for sharing that. The other thing is the lack of structure, perhaps, in need of a curriculum. So Superintendent and Mr. Dolowich mentioned that they're going to be bringing curriculum to the board for approval on the 18th. I can definitely help and make sure that the urgency is heard so that we don't become a problem or something that slows the process down. So I'm really glad I heard you. In addition to just the fact that you're also asking for, I heard the issue around struggling for structure, struggling for, maybe, I'm not sure if there's other things we could do from a internet stability issue. So just it helps us understand and work with superintendent to look at what are other things that we can bring to you. What are other services? Because again, we can help in advocating to make sure we are using funding to bring those opportunities to you. Again, thank you so much. I look forward to continuing these discussions and hearing more often directly from you.
Okay, thank you all so much for that. So we do have another question, which I think has mostly been answered already. But if there's more that people want to add, this is just about how we can enforce Mental Health Mondays and make sure students get the most out of it.
Jessica, just to jump in right there. So one thing, and it could also include update for students, but for staff with Character Strong, it not only takes into account 21st century high school realities vis-a-vis cyberbullying, social media, fill in the blank, you name it, the things that high school students are experiencing and going through. It also brings up-to-date videos and lessons and supplementary materials with respect to COVID-19 and the pandemic. So that's one of the reasons it rose to the top. And so in response to this question, I think with the board's support and approval, what we would do in a very accelerated fashion to roll it out is train the teachers to use that Monday time efficiently and purposefully. And so I know some take it and run with it already, but if we have a district-wide curriculum as well as the training with a cutting-edge curriculum, then teachers that I think I heard earlier may not know how to best utilize that time will have the tools to be able to show a video that's relevant for students based on what they're experiencing in 2021. And so even though they personally may not be at a point where they can necessarily prioritize SEL, the curriculum does that and then creates the sacred space for the students to engage and hopefully engage with one another, because I mean, really the teacher's the facilitator, and we know teachers across the continuum are at different places, which is absolutely to be expected. But then how do we create a respectful, appropriate space for the students to socialize, because you're not getting that on a typical regular basis. And so that's one thing just to add in that layer in terms of, I think it would really utilize those Mondays to the full degree possible, because it's a bona fide comprehensive curriculum that's been vetted against others. And I think, if ASB checks it out, characterstrong.com, and we're also in close contact, Miss Garcia and others, with the CEO, who's out of the state of Washington, then we can bring him in to engage. So I think that is like a tangible next step for us.
This is Mr. Bishop. I'd like to just kind of reiterate with Ms. Rangel being proactive. And first of all, I wanted to bring it to the students and just praise them for bringing up some issues that they saw within their own classrooms as far as Mondays go. And so the voice of change actually spoke up. And so now our administrative team can address that. So Ms. Rango being proactive and kind of looking in on those classrooms on Mondays can actually help the teachers kind of get back on track or even start something. And for whatever reasons, you know, might need that help. So I think that is an excellent idea. And I really praise Ms. Rango for being proactive in that.
Thank you, Mr. Bishop. I also just wanted to say that, you know, when we went into distance learning, obviously technology came easier to some teachers than others, right? And so we had to support them in order for them to get better. Same thing around social emotional curriculum. Some of our teachers are naturally good at this developing relationships, asking those questions, having a genuine conversation. And so it's really just about, if we're able to roll out this curriculum, how can we ensure that we get those teachers to the same level that it may come to others naturally, right? So this is definitely a priority for us, and I really appreciate all of your voices today.
Okay, so
now,
sorry, go ahead, Jasmine.
Okay, now we're going to try to open this up to any questions, comments, concerns from the attendees. Since the chat isn't available right now, you can use the Q&A to go ahead and say anything you guys would like to say.
And while you do that, we're just also going to plug our contact information. So this is all the members of ASB. Ethan, the president, Dana, vice president, Isabella, secretary, who's running the chat right now, or the Q&A, I mean, not the chat. Wahab, who's panelist along with Ethan and Dana, and then myself. So you guys can like take a picture of the slide if you want to reach out to any of us with like questions, like suggestions for our next town hall, or any ideas you might have. I'm about to switch to the next slide, so you might want to do that right now. Okay, I'm gonna give it 3, 2, 1. Okay, and then this is our contact information for Nathalia and Istina. In case you don't remember, Nathalia is head of the Positive Outlook Committee, and Istina is the Mind Wellness President. Yes, so you can take a picture of this slide as well if you want to reach out to either of them, or maybe join Istina's club. And yeah, that's basically it. Thank you everyone for joining us. I hope this was helpful, or at least it started the conversation. Yeah.
Okay, so before we wrap up, I just want to remind you guys, if you guys have anything you want to comment on in the chat, we are taking the information from the chat to help us figure out what to do next. And of course, we have some very important leaders here today within the school as well as the school district that are showing that they are willing to help, and the most that we can do, we need to hear your guys' voices, right? I'm hoping that you guys feel empowered to speak up and are willing to talk on this, to continue to speak about this. We realize how important it is, but we want to make sure we're making the changes that you guys need. And so it's really important that you guys are letting us know exactly what that is. So if you guys want to scroll through the Q&A, there was a lot of questions and a lot of comments being made. We responded to pretty much everything that was in there, but I think it was really important, the student feedback that was given as far as not only Mondays, but just like what things you guys need to help us help you. So again, thank you guys so much for being a part of this. We really appreciate you. This has been recorded, so I will get the recording out to you guys later today. I will also be sending it out to staff as well as the Newark community. So stick around if you guys have any questions that you want to ask. We'll be monitoring the Q&A for a few more minutes. Thank you, everyone. Thank you to all of our panelists who were here. We really appreciate you guys taking the time out of your day to be here and showing your support for the students.